welcome to the September edition of 71 Magazine. I'm your host, John Bryenton, and joining me in the studio right now is Diane Bowers, who is the chair of the Imagination Library panel here in Daviess County. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very nice to have you. We spoke a little bit before we got ready to do this interview, and I actually had to do a little research on Imagination Library and just kind of find out a little bit about its history and so forth. So I always assumed that if I didn't know a lot about it, there may be some other folks out there that didn't know either. So why don't we begin with just what is Imagination Library?
Okay. Imagination Library was started by Dolly Parton. I'm sorry, I don't know what year. Quite a few years ago. She sent out 1 million books at this point. But it was the whole premise of it is that every registered child will receive a free book in the mail every month from birth until 5 years old.
Okay.
And of course, with the idea that books in the home is going to improve kindergarten readiness, it helps a young child who may not have books in their home.
Right.
And Dolly Parton's foundation selects the books, they order the books, they store them, and then they ship them out. Now, it's up to a local organization, such as ours here in Daviess County, to pay for those books.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people also confuse us with the public library. The public library here in town definitely supports us. Sometimes when we have fundraisers, but we are not connected. Everybody thinks it's the public library, and well, that's free, right?
Right.
Nobody pays for that, right?
No, we pay for it all the time.
Yes, we do. We pay for it with our taxes. But this is actually, our organization here in Daviess County is required to pay for the books that are being mailed out to kids here in Daviess County.
Okay. Well, so this was started by Dolly Parton. Do you know what kind of affiliation did she have with reading and children and reading, or was this just a passion of hers?
This was just a passion of hers, and the very first book that every single child gets is The Little Engine That Could, which was inspired. She was inspired to choose that particular book because of her dad.
Right.
He always encouraged her to, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
Right.
He was a great encourager.
Okay.
So to her, that Little Engine That Could speaks of her dad.
Yeah.
But this was just a passion. Of course, you know that Dolly Parton grew up in a very poor area of rural Tennessee, and probably didn't have a lot of books in her home, or at least knew a lot of kids who didn't have books in their home.
Right.
And this is just something she wanted to do. And of course, she started it in her own area of Tennessee. It has grown to many parts of the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and I think they recently mailed out their 1,000th book.
Wow. Well, I know locally here, Daviess County, you're celebrating 10 years.
We are.
But how did it get started in Daviess County?
Well, we have a local representative who is with the Dollywood Foundation. Her name is Christy Krause, and there was a couple of people in our community, which was Janet Land and Nancy Roberts, who attended some type of early education program in Kentucky, and Christy Krause was there speaking about Imagination Library. And Nancy and Janet got together and said, oh my goodness, we have got to bring this to Daviess County. And from the time they first said, we need to do this, until the money was raised was probably about a 1.5 to 2 year process, because you can't just say we're going to do it. You've got to have some funds to start with. So it took a lot of talking to individuals, to foundations here in town to say, help us, this is what we want to do, how can you help us financially to get this going? Because if you don't have some money in the bank, you're not even going to be able to, maybe you can cover that first bill, but what happens when the bill number 2 comes, bill number 3? Because the Dollywood Foundation is billing our organization every single month for the books that are mailed here in Daviess County.
Okay.
So it took a lot of talking, a lot of, working, and then the very first mailing in October of 2007 was for 264 kids. Right now, we're mailing out a little over 3,000 books a month. So we've grown a lot in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, what does the actual local organization, what is their responsibility?
Our major responsibility is managing the mailing list, which, you can go online, imaginationlibrary.com, to sign up your child. And then it's up to one of our members to go in and approve that, make sure you're in Daviess County, because that's all we can afford to pay for
Right,
is Daviess
yeah.
County. And we also have to fundraise and write grants. So that is and educate the public.
Right.
You know, education is a big part of it to make everyone understand that, hey, we are so happy to have this program, but at the same time, we have to pay for these books, and our bill is running just under $7,000 a month.
That's amazing. That's a lot of money.
So, and a lot of people think that we're doing things like putting labels on books and dropping them in the post office. No, we're not doing that.
Oh, okay.
We are fundraising, writing grants, getting the word out. Now, we also, of course, people move all the time. So some of the books get returned to us, and the post office is kind enough, because they don't have to do this. They're mailed at a bulk rate. They save them for us, and we periodically go to the post office and pick them up. But we try to make really good use of those books that get returned to us by sharing them with other programs. For example, the English as a Second Language refugee program here that's centered through the community college. My daughter just happens to work in it.
Oh, okay.
They had a program this summer with, and it was all about teaching parents how to deal with school issues, filling out forms, that type of thing. But they had a program on, here's how you read a book to your child. So we supplied them with books, and the parents got to take the books home.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of programs like that we do try to take advantage of. We've got these books that have been returned. We want to share them with the community.
Yeah. Well, it's real important then that you keep these databases very accurate.
Yes.
And up to date.
Yes, it is.
Because you're paying for every one of these
Right.
books.
It cost us, those books, you know, we've paid for them that get returned as well.
Well, how do people sign up? How do people sign up to get books?
imaginationlibrary.com.
Okay.
They can go in and, you know, they'll select their county, and then there's the form that they can fill out. Now, we also have forms, just paper forms, that we distribute throughout the community, and the mailing address is on there to mail them back to us, and we'll manually enter them.
Okay.
Because, you know, for example, the refugees, you know, may not have access to computers,
Right.
or have enough understanding of the internet to enter it themselves. We're happy to enter those.
Right.
And honestly, when that became available just about 3 years ago, where you could go to imaginationlibrary.com and enter yourself, register yourself, of course, our workload was helped a lot, that we didn't have to manually enter hundreds of forms, but it's also when our membership just skyrocketed, which is a good thing.
Yeah. So what is your passion for this? I mean, what is your background in this? Where did
I love to read, and you know, I'm so happy that I passed that love of reading on to my children. And of course, my children are grown now, but I just think it is such an awesome program. Wouldn't it have been exciting when my kids were young and they loved books to get that book in the mail every single month
Right.
with their name on it? You know, everybody loves to get personal mail.
Right.
And then to have something that you love coming in the mail. And I've had so many parents tell me that. I had a guy I work with tell me, I mean, his daughter was an infant. And he said, when that book comes in the mail, he said, life stops at our house. He said, my wife grabs that book, and this, you know, little bitty infant is being read this book, which is wonderful to
Right.
start that at such an early age.
Yes, that is great. Well, listen, as a full volunteer organization, I'm assuming that you could use volunteers.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if anyone out there would like to volunteer, what could they expect? I mean, as far as being a volunteer, what would they be doing?
Well, we have a panel meeting, and we refer to ourselves as a panel as opposed to a board. Audubon Area Community Services is our fiscal agent. They have a board, so we're a panel. We have monthly meetings. We work on fundraisers. We've actually got a spelling bee competition coming up in September. You know, we love help with that. Somebody who could, you know, recruit people to put in a team, to someone to be a sponsor. You know, the silent auction items.
Right.
If somebody's good at writing grants, we would,
Yeah.
you know, that's awesome. So just anything, there's lots of, I mean, we need somebody who can write thank you notes, somebody who would keep up our website for us, our Facebook page. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that we need help with.
Okay. How many people currently serve on your panel?
We have about 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, more is always needed. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, we spoke briefly about this, about how your bill is your monthly bill is just shy of $7,000 a month.
Yes.
How is your organization funded? I mean, what kind of sources?
Strictly through fundraisers and grants.
Okay.
And we have been fortunate enough at this point to build up a little bit of an endowment that we have invested.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get in a real crunch, we can pull from that. We don't like to do it that way,
Okay.
but we are fortunate enough to have been able to operate for the most part, with our fundraisers
Right.
and our grants and donations, of course.
Okay. Well, listen, how can people get additional information, whether they want to volunteer, whether they want to sign up, or whether they want to just contribute?
Okay. Well, our Facebook page, of course, is Imagination Library of Daviess County.
Mm-hmm.
You can send us a message through there. You can call me, 270-316-3612. I would be so happy to talk to you. As I mentioned, Audubon Area is our fiscal agent. They can mail a donation to Audubon Area. So, yeah.
Well, great. Well, listen, you guys are doing great work.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a matter of educating people, because
Sure.
who doesn't want little kids to get books?
Absolutely, and that's really it's a good send off right there. It's
Yeah.
just, getting books in the hands of children as early as you can is, I'm sure, extremely important in the learning development.
And
of
there's
kids.
been a lot of studies done on that. The
Right.
state of Tennessee pays for the kids in Tennessee that are registered, and therefore they have done a lot of studies on how important it improves kindergarten readiness.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people may not know this, but in Daviess County, our statistics for kindergarten readiness is not
Right.
where it should be.
Right. Well, good. Well, listen, you guys are doing great work, and thanks for joining us, and really best of luck to you, and hope your fundraiser goes over well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, stay tuned. Up next, we're going to be with the folks at Western Kentucky Botanical Gardens. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the studio. Joining us now is Susie Tyler and Daryl Wedding, both of the Western Kentucky Botanical Gardens. Welcome to the show, you all.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And Daryl, this is your first time being on here.
It is.
So we've never had to stop and restart. So if you make a mistake, it'll be the first time it's ever happened to me in 17 years. So let's be careful, okay? Okay, Susie, before we get started, we were talking before we went on camera here just a little bit about the history of the Botanical Gardens. So why don't you give our viewers a little bit of history on it? It's fascinating.
We're 12 plus acres now. In recent times, we acquired our access to West 2nd Street, whereas our entrance is at this time on the northern end of Carter Road.
Okay. And when did the gardens actually begin?
We, in 2018, will observe our 25th anniversary,
Wow.
which we want to be an even added special year.
Right.
However, the Western Kentucky Botanical Garden is different from most all other botanical gardens in that it did not begin from the grounds of an estate. It began from a field because it was a part of a farm homestead, a rather notable farm homestead in Daviess County.
Okay. Well, I know when you had the Weatherberry, which was, for a lot of folks, that's very memorable. That was a beautiful, beautiful place. But you had so many plants out there to begin with, it was almost like that was a botanical gardens out there, because you and Bill really worked very hard at maintaining those gardens, and everything that was out there was beautiful. As a matter of fact, we spoke earlier, I was married out there. It was just a fabulous place. It was beautiful. So I'm glad that the gardens have come off of that, and you've grown it so much in the last 24 years. It's just incredible. Well, today we're here to talk about the fundraising event. And Daryl, I'm going to turn it over to you. September 22nd, big day. Tell us about it.
It is called the Backwoods Ball.
Okay.
It is what we like to call a good old time hoedown.
Okay.
We'll have live entertainment, silent auction items for you to bid on.
Okay.
Dinner, of course, served. Tickets are on sale now. You can buy a table or you can buy individual group.
Okay.
Come expecting to have a good time. Wear your bib overalls, wear your blue jeans, dress up cowboy hats. We'll have photo options there for you.
Okay.
Wine tasting, bourbon tasting.
Okay.
The list goes on and on, but it
Okay.
is a big event. It grows every year, gets bigger and better every year.
So this is like your annual fundraising event that you're having.
It's one of our two most important.
Okay. And where is it going to be? Where's the event going to be held?
A tobacco warehouse.
Where is that
The
at?
big independent tobacco warehouse.
Okay.
Old Calhoun Road.
Okay. Is that going out 81?
It's en route to 81,
Okay,
right. It is
okay.
actually West Parish, and it's also in, 56, en route to 56.
Okay.
It's right before the roundabout
Oh, it is.
on the left.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a great description for it. Well, Daryl, what is your role at the Botanical Gardens?
I am a board member,
Okay.
and that encompasses a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Whatever Susie tells me to do, I'm there. So we meet, we get ready for this, we advertise, we market the garden, we
Yeah.
get deep involved and do whatever we can to make it happen.
Well, that's great. Susie, I know you talked about the menu. And any time I've ever been involved with the Botanical Gardens, the menu is always fantastic. Do we know the menu yet?
Yes, we're not prepared to list it item by item today.
All right.
But saying it all, Jeannie Bosley Heath designs the menu.
Okay.
And it is definitely a gourmet backwoods.
Oh. So I'm thinking about some barbecue and maybe some baked beans and.
And we're talking shrimp and grits,
Oh.
that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So gourmet backwoods.
Yes, definitely
We throw some surprises.
gourmet.
Okay. Now I understand. Is there going to be some live music?
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
who will be performing?
In fact, we have an original creation this year.
Okay.
In addition to the long-standing, very successful Lanham Brothers Jamboree.
Okay.
They are very much central to this, but with the varied talents of Larry Kirk, a specially designed entertainment
Okay.
will be what takes place.
Well, that's excellent. Now, I know that typically when folks have fundraisers that there's always sponsors. Do you have any sponsors that you would like to mention?
Oh, we would love to. Independence Bank, Real Hacienda Mexican Restaurant,
Okay.
Jago Homes. Now, I'm listing some of the topmost in
Exactly.
this case.
Sure.
And Murphy Kincheloe.
Okay.
And then we have quite a few from the agricultural community, and that's delightful, like Knott Brothers Farms, Jerry O'Brien.
Okay. So also tell me, on the silent auctions are always fun to me. I enjoy them. And my wife not so much, because I like to bid on a lot of things. But is there anything special you can tell us about as far as any of the special silent auction items?
Yes, we have some Disney World passes.
Wow.
We have a stay at Green Turtle Bay.
Beautiful place.
There is a new zip line project in Lexington. We have passes for that.
Okay.
Of course, we have the Pappy Van Hayden,
Oh.
Van Winkle, Pappy Van
Winkle.
Winkle. We have, some personal items. We're going to do something. This will be displayed as an array. We'll have numerous unique dining opportunities.
Okay.
Both vendors for the public and in some private settings.
Some of my favorite stuff to do. Eat.
Yes, and talk about eating.
Absolutely.
An added touch this year, we're going to select 3 items to have a live auction. And no matter his son is playing Owensboro Catholic High School football, John Kurtz will be there for a live auction of 3 items.
And that's always good, because I know silent auctions are just that, but live auctions, I think people get a little bit more competitive.
Yes.
And so that always brings out a little bit more, because listen, it's a fundraising event, okay? You're trying to raise money, and that's the whole point of it.
And it's going to be tough for us to select the 3 that we ought to have in the live auction.
Well, I'm going to say Pappy Van Winkle might be a good one if you're picking up what I'm throwing down. I think you would do very well with the Pappy Van Winkle.
Yes.
I mean, because that is a very expensive bourbon. I'm a bourbon drinker, so I know very well that's a very sought after item.
We also have an array of bottles of wine that come from several different sources, and they will be great for gift giving. One, a beautiful picture of Marilyn Monroe that says Marilyn Merlot, that's the name of the wine,
Right.
and other wine names that will make for gift giving occasions that just suit certain situations.
Okay. Well, Daryl, what is, first of all, you're not employed by the Botanical Gardens. You actually serve on the board. First of all, what got you interested in the Botanical Gardens? And second of all, where is it that you work?
What got me involved with the Botanical Gardens is just the first time I went, the nature, just the beauty of nature, and it's something that's there all season. It's there all summer long. Something's always blooming.
Yes.
So no matter what you see, or if you go every weekend, or if you go every day, you're going to see something different.
Yes.
And I just enjoy that it was right here in the center of town, but you could walk into another time or another era.
That's right.
So that's what hooked me with the garden.
Excellent.
And then of course Susie.
Yeah.
That hooked me. As far as my job, I am the access manager for Owensboro Health.
Oh, okay.
I've been there for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
I started with Dr. Terry Tyler
Oh, okay.
at RDI. I was with him for 17 years, and then we
Okay.
merged with the hospital 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. Susie, how is this fundraiser to support I'm sure it's to support the gardens, but is there any specific thing that it's going towards, or just in general?
Our general support is very important to us. It's essential, it's crucial.
Okay.
And we rely on the monies from our fundraiser to operate the garden.
Okay. So is that your primary source of revenue, your fundraising
We
events?
have multiple,
Okay.
gratefully.
Okay.
We are grateful for support from the city of Owensboro, but we must supplement that, and likewise Davis County Fiscal Court.
Okay. Well, I can't. Let's talk about the white elephant in the room here. Okay, this picture is priceless. Now, how did this come about?
Larry Kirk has been very supportive of the garden. He has.
Did Larry talk you into doing this?
Yes. I won't use the word taunt, but he mentioned in passing, but in a very, you didn't miss what he said. He has been an outstanding asset to the garden, even though he has other heavy-duty involvements. But he mentioned it in passing. I don't think he ever intended for us to do it, but very quietly, Bill and I, immediately began to gather up some of these clothes, locate the pitchfork, which with a botanical garden is not hard to do,
Right.
and to quietly go to captured moments on Old Hartford Road.
Well, this is priceless, and it's so appropriate. It really is, because this, to me, really stands for the garden. It says it says so much. You know what they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. This one's worth 10,000. I'm going to say.
They are the heart of the garden, and
Absolutely.
they work.
Yes,
hard.
I know. Every
Very,
time I'm
very
out there,
hard.
he's down on his knees, he's pulling weeds, or he's doing something. So that's fantastic. Now, Susie, does the garden utilize volunteers?
We rely heavily on volunteers. And
No
let
one's
me
going to
go
pull
back
those weeds
about-
by themselves, right?
That's right. This
Yeah.
enlarged picture was on demand, John. We certainly didn't go do this on our own. They said, we do want this to hang in the cottage, which is
Absolutely.
the main building at the garden.
Yeah.
Volunteers are at the heart of all of it. Example being last Monday when we had a terrific gathering for the eclipse at
yeah,
the
that's right.
garden, volunteer run. Backwoods Ball will be volunteer based.
Okay.
Dazzling daylilies, balloons over the garden, and day-to-day maintenance. We have a once a month volunteer session for the community, followed by lunch, which we hope is an attraction.
Right.
And it's called First Weekend Wonders, and we gather and hit it hard.
Okay. Do you still do the walk and talk series?
Yes.
Any of you people who have not been to the Walk and Talk series, you got to go. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
The food I've been to these, and they're very, very well put together and very nice.
Again, volunteers.
Yes, absolutely. It is fantastic. Okay, so let's get back on the event. How can folks get tickets?
Call the garden,
Okay.
go by the Miller House,
Oh, okay.
come by the garden, go by the Moonlight, online,
Okay.
by mail.
All right. Okay.
Any and all avenues.
Okay. What about a telephone number?
852-8925.
You're sharp. I'll tell you what. I can't get anything over on her.
WKBG@bellsouth.net or WKBKG.org.
Okay.
Or hit up a board member. Go to the website and hit up a board member. We'll have them.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was on the website, and nice website. I was able to get some more information about the event and everything, and I saw all the board members listed and everything else. So folks, go to that website. I'm sure when you look down that list, you're going to know somebody. Pick up the phone and give them a call and get some tickets.
Great.
So thanks for joining us.
Great.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it both, and good luck to you, Susie, and Daryl, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here in August.